So what we're working on today is just making sure that Molly can heel with me with just me pressing the e-collar. So she does pretty good on her walks. She doesn't pull a ton anymore. She does really good with reminders. But now this is what I call long line work, is how can the dog, Molly, heel, good job, handle just me pressing the button of the e-collar and finding the heel position. Molly down. We're also doing it with other things like increasing her stay. And sometimes she can get a little silly about it because she's still a puppy. But what I find is with the more consistent we are with maturity as well, we can really help her not be so, silly about the obedience. So there's a time to be silly and a time to have fun, a time to play, but I typically don't make obedience like really silly. Like some trainers and some people are like really hyped like when they're training the dog, but I just feel like that's not realistic as far as promoting a calm state of mind. And so instead, I'm using a ton of food with her. She's 100% working for her meals during this training process. So she's not seeing any food from the bowl. It all comes from the treat pouch. And when she, needs to be rewarded, instead of me like coming in and being like, oh my goodness, good girl, and like really hyping her up, I am coming in and giving food. So even that, like her little tails, she's pretty happy. She knows exactly that it's a good thing that she's doing, but her state of mind gets really hyper. And sometimes that doesn't allow for calmness in some of these positions, which will be really vital when she, does place command and downstays and stuff around kids and around the office. So I really want to make sure that I'm promoting a good state of mind. Good job, Molly. So long line work, is really functional just to make sure that the dog understands position with e-collar. So the leash is a super important communication tool the first time, the first several sessions of introducing e-collar with a dog. And so she does pretty good when I put her on the slip lead. I don't have any issues when I press the e-collar button and she can find the heel position because that leash is short. And so very quickly, if she gets out of position, there's pressure on the slip lead. Whereas if she's just dragging a long line, there's no pressure from the leash. And so that changes the dynamics. But it helps create a ton of depth. And so sometimes like she'll get a little bit stuck, need a little bit of help with that leash. I know, girl, it's hot. She's like, it's 6:00, but it's still hot outside. This is her dinner. Good job. So I'll show you kind of how I start it. So I'm just going to start in the heel position, just call her out of the down. Molly, heel. Come on. Good job. So if I need to use a little bit, good girl. If I need to use a little bit of body language, I'm going to just pat my leg and have her heel with me. Good. So that she has some form of communication of, okay, I need to be right here. She's not choosing the right side to heel on. She's choosing the left side, and she's pretty good about. Good job finding that. Good job, Molly. Good. She's like, I'll just do it down because we've done a bunch of downs. But that's actually better than she's done. Sometimes with dogs, like at her age and kind of how silly she can get, they'll do what we call appeasement behaviors, where when I stop and she'll come in front of me and like seek affection. And, partly that's because she's got affection when she's, when I'm standing here, my feet here, and, I ask her to sit and I give her a treat and she's polite and she, all of that stuff. And so she'll kind of crawl around me. But when I'm working on the heel, I want to curb that and make sure that she can just like stay next to me. That way I don't muddy what I'm asking her to do. Molly, heel. Molly, heel. Good job. So I didn't use any e-collar there. I just encouraged her to get up because she was going to do it, but she was just a little bit hesitant. The only time I'm really using e-collar is if she's like way far out, way far ahead, or way far behind, or just not coming at all. Like she's just like not coming into position. I'm on let's see, what am I on? A 10. It's kind of hard to see with the sun, but she has been fairly consistent about that. Like when she's around other dogs and she's playing, that's what I want to do later tonight, is have her do a play group out here and work on this with the other dogs around. Because sometimes, you know, especially with puppies, when they get silly around other dogs, they just can't think through the obedience. Yep. So right there, I'm going to do a little bit of e-collar. Good job. Just enough to get her back attention wise. She's like, I'm sniffing too much grass. I'm sneezing. Molly, down. Good. But her stay is looking awesome. The biggest thing is just getting her to stay focused on that heel. Some other stuff, I'll make a separate video of it that I've been doing. I typically do this first thing in the morning when she's the most hungry, is I have been teaching her, I know I didn't do it as early with Murphy, but I have been teaching her the attend with targeting a bowl, because I like to transfer that when, like, I'm going to start to add my daughter into it where she can hold the bowl. I mean, that's easier with kids. With adults, you don't necessarily need like a target. You can just hand an adult a handful of treats and say attend, and the dog goes over to the person. With kids, you know, they're silly with the food, it's falling on the floor, like there's so many variables with a child. And so the bowl just is something easy for the kid to hold on to. I'm not going to do the lap, like having her go on and lay on somebody until she's a little bit older, just because she's so silly at this age. And so I want to wait for a little bit more maturity on that. But as far as the attend goes, I just think it's like, especially with something as easy as a target, I think she can handle it at this point. My main concern, obviously, at this first stage of the training is going to be obedience and exposure. So yesterday we went to Ace Hardware and she did really good. A gentleman came up and we just kind of talked, and she naturally laid down. And as she was laying down, I was just rewarding state of mind. So as this gentleman was talking to me about his dogs and asking me dog training questions, that happens a lot. So it was a great opportunity. I just had her lay down and just like fed her when a person walked by, and she was calm and not like, you know, trying to greet them or anything. She just was being calm. And so like my biggest thing is exposure, but what, you know, giving her, you know, a better state of mind through that exposure. So, and then at the end, like, he said hi to her and she was excited about it and she was polite. And so because she was polite, I gave her treats, he gave her treats. It was good on all fronts. So she did good trip out. So I try to do that like twice a week, getting her out on field trips. We're going to go tomorrow somewhere, but I'll get a video of the attend tomorrow morning when she's a little, like, I like to do it when she's like really hungry, because she has to think pretty hard about like targeting the bowl. Murphy like picked it up so fast, where she's kind of like, she'll look at the bowl like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. And sometimes that's common when we do a lot of training, like obedience training, because so much of obedience training is heel with me, come back to me, do a downstay, pay attention to me, focus on me, have impulse control. So the idea of like going out and seeking something can be like, they kind of like, they're more reserved to do that because we're working on so much focus and impulse control, like all here, you know, with us versus like out and about with the bowl. So I actually think it's important to do now, because there's hesitation with her to go and seek the bowl. So I think it'll be good, you know, to integrate that as I'm doing obedience, so she doesn't feel like she's going to get in trouble for like leaving me to go do her job, or leaving you to go do her job when it's time to do the attend or the lap or something. I don't want her to be so much, you know, so heavy on obedience where she's like, I can't break place at any cost. I typically, so when dogs only do obedience, like they kind of have that mindset of, this place bed it's all or nothing. I can't be in the middle of it. So anyway, she's doing good though. She's doing really well. I'm proud of her progress so far.